This video, I hope, is going to be a lot of fun. I check up on the Typosphere website just about every day to see the latest blog articles for typewriter bloggers. And even though people say blogging is not a thing in 2025, I think blogs are still very healthy forms of social media. But I was looking at Tom Fasano's typewriter blog. If you haven't seen his blog, it's listed on the Typosphere blog roll. And his entry of May 6, 2025, he has a link to a video that is a series of advertisements done by Robotron, the East German typewriter and electronics consortium. So Wikipedia tells us that it was VEB Kombinat Robotron, and they made a lot of things besides typewriters. They were into the computer era and had their own computers, mini computers, personal computers, mainframe computers, and all that. But they did make a series of typewriters, and one of the typewriters that came out of the Robotron factory is actually the Optima Super. This is 1960 approximately. So the film you're going to see is probably 15-minute long, and it's a series of advertisements done for Robotron. And it's kind of has a musical, lighthearted kind of aesthetic to it. Very much a product of its era. Dress, clothing, cars from Germany, and of course, office typewriters and the office environment. I think it's a very fun period film about Robotron. And after you watch the film, stay tuned, stay here, because I'm going to talk a little bit more about the film and about these typewriter advertisements. I hope you enjoy this.
Ja, 140, 75.
Herr Doppischei, bitte Kabine 6. Herr Doppischei, bitte Kabine 6. Bitte nicht atmen, nicht bewegen. Weiter atmen.
Schön, können Sie sich wieder anziehen.
Ich würde mich auch freuen, wenn ich das erstmal ausziehen könnte, bevor das dann da losgeht. Ich weiß gar nicht, was das soll. Brauchen wir, habt ihr ein Mietverheißen, das ihr Gewissheit habt? Lass mich das heißt Lied in nur entreißen. Deswegen erst bitten und ich schwöre dir, dass ihr dir Jesus freilich
Hallo? Oui, nous avons une chambre disponible pour le relais.
Hallo, hier ist die Rezeption. Das müssen aber, das ist ganz weit weg, verstehe ich nicht ein Wort. Palasthotel, Rezeption eventuelle. Sì, signora, sì, possibile. Un attimo, per favore. Sì, per una singola 100 marchi 40. Ok, va bene, ciao.
Das Kollektiv des Zentrumhauses Berlin am Alexanderplatz begrüßt Sie sehr herzlich und wünschen Ihnen einen angenehmen Einkauf. Alles für die Freizeit und den Haushalt, Rundfunkfernsehen, elektrische Haushaltsgeräte, Fotouhrenschmuck, Schallplatten und Haushaltswäsche bekommen Sie im 4. Geschoss.
Möchten Sie sich nach Ihrem Einkaufsbummel ein wenig erholen? Unser Kundenrestaurant erwartet Ihren Besuch im 5. Geschoss.
Ja, bitte? Nein, so einfach ist es nicht. Nee, nee. Ja, ist gut. Ich melde mich wieder, ja?
Dann noch eine zweite Moskau, welche unterer Platz? Eine zweite Moskau, Wagen.
Well, how did you guys like that film? I thought it was a lot of fun. It certainly was a product of its era. Speaking of its era, I was originally thinking it was like late 1960s, maybe sometime in the 70s, but there's one clip where the guy's typing a date and it's 1980. So I'm kind of assuming it's 1980. There was no date originally on the film as I found it on Internet Archive. One thing I found interesting, okay, so Robotron was an East German factory, but I didn't really see signs of the East-West political divide. Like, all the scenes were intended to be very Western-looking, modern offices, modern industry, vital, lively business going on, people flying on airplanes, trains, kind of middle-class affluence, people well-dressed, apparently. So I thought that was very interesting. But, of course, we know that Robotron and the typewriters that made in East Germany were certainly marketed to the West. We know that. So maybe they were targeting a Western audience with this film. I also found it very interesting, the emphasis toward the latter part of the film on electronic typewriters and even some daisy wheel typewriters that operated like computer printers. So this kind of ties into the 1980 time frame of the film. I thought that was very cool. I'd like to hear from you guys if you have a Robotron branded typewriter. Now, I have the Optima Super, which was made in the same factory as Robotron. Mine was made quite earlier than this film, back in the early 1960s. But I'd like to hear from you guys if you have a Robotron typewriter. What do you think of it? I'm interested in them. They look like they're very well-made, well-constructed, heavy machines. I'd like to hear from somebody out there who has had experience in using them. I think it's also important for me to mention that there is a Bulgarian-based YouTuber who has a channel that in English is called I Collect Stuff. And he does videos on Robotron-made typewriters, whether they're Robotrons themselves or Doras or Optimas. He collects these large desktop typewriters and does either reviews of them or just typing tests of them. I'll leave a link down below. And he's a very interesting fellow because he's, I think, the only guy I know on YouTube that's doing exclusively these reviews of East German full-size desktop typewriters. So that's very cool. Also, Tom Fasano, of course, his blog is where I found this film. So I want to make sure you guys check out Tom Fasano's blog. There's a link down below. Check that out. And if you're not a regular visitor to the Typosphere website itself, you need to visit it because down below there is a link to all the active typewriter bloggers. And I would count myself as active in the sense of I do blog occasionally, but not nearly as often as other people. So be sure to check out the blog roll, Tom Fasano's blog. And, of course, let me know if you do have a Robotron typewriter. I think it's a very interesting brand name, and this film was so fun. I hope you liked it. And I hope also to be showing a few more typewriter-themed advertisement or training film videos. However, the issue is a lot of these films are uploaded by Periscope Films, and Periscope Films, I've actually been in contact with them. It's very expensive for me to buy the rights to show a Periscope Films film on YouTube, but the ones that are not copyright protected by Periscope Films, I'll try to put some of those up anyways. But I would love to be able to do more of these kind of advertisement films, training films if I can. And let me know if you're interested in that also down below. And for now, that's it. I wish you the very best. I hope you stay creative with all your creative pursuits. And as always, have a great day. Bye-bye for now.